When a deadly woman strikes, the world can change in an instant, as it did for a husband returning home around midnight in January 1989.
So he walked in the apartment, and then when he looked, he saw his wife laying on the floor. And that's when he discovered an enormous amount of blood.
Paul Solomon calls 911, but it's too late.
Hello?
His wife is dead.
My wife's been shot.
Sergeant Richie Constantino is the first detective on the scene.
There was a large puddle of blood that she was lying in, and you could see that she had gunshot wounds to her body.
A seasoned New York cop, Constantino quickly has a prime suspect.
Any type of homicide, you'd always look at the person who saw the victim last and the person who found the victim. And that person was Paul Solomon, the husband.
Police sense Solomon is hiding something. His wife, Betty Jean, had the same feeling earlier that day.
Yeah, I'm going bowling. Remember?
Paul tells his wife of 15 years he is going out with friends.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The next time he sees Betty Jean, she will be dead.
Going bowling now, so you have a good night.
When Paul Solomon left the house, he used the excuse or the alibi that he was going to the bowling alley to bowl, when in fact his intention wasn't to go bowling.
Paul Solomon has lied to his wife so he can cheat on her with 25-year-old Carolyn Warmus.
Carolyn Warmus was a very attractive woman. She had a lot of energy. She had an incredible body.
To crime writer Diane Fanning, Carolyn Warmus is a classic femme fatale.
Very short skirts, revealing tops. She wanted to attract the attention of men, and she did it very well.
The couple meet at the school where they work. Carolyn doesn't mind that Paul is married. That is part of his appeal.
She had a thing for married men, and that was who she preferred having relationships with. And Paul Solomon was not the first one, the most serious one, but not the first.
3 years earlier, she is dating another man.
He was a medical student. His name was Paul Lavin. And she dated him and had a very torrid affair, even though he was engaged.
Carolyn repeatedly got involved with men who were unavailable to her. Those are guaranteed to be unhappy relationships.
Maybe you're not what I need.
When Lavin tries to end the affair, it flicks a switch in Carolyn's mind. She changes.
And when those relationships didn't work out, which they were bound not to, she was left with hurt feelings. And when she was hurt, she would become a stalker.
She stakes out her ex-lover's house, waiting to steal him from his fiancée.
She used to send notes to Paul Lavin saying she was pregnant, and in fact she wasn't, trying to get him to be with her.
Those phone calls yesterday, that was her again.
I really think she thought she could win him back if she just persisted in stalking him and harassing him. That doesn't work for most people, but I think she thought that it would.
Lavin is angry. He wants Carolyn out of his life.
They had to get a restraining order against her so they can get married.
Carolyn has fought for love and lost. Next time, it will be different. New York, 1988. Carolyn Warmus has attracted another attached man, Paul Solomon.
Carolyn came along, she was a breath of fresh air. His ego was flattered that a 25-year-old woman would want to be involved with him. And that's how it began.
Before long, Solomon is talking of divorcing his wife and marrying Carolyn instead. He thinks she has the face of an angel. What he doesn't know is she also has a heart of darkness.
This case was every cheating husband's worst nightmare. What could be worse than to fool around and then be stalked by a crazy woman who kills people?
Treetops Lounge in Yonkers, New York, 1989. A place where couples can indulge in secret affairs, away from prying eyes. Couples like Carolyn Warmus and Paul Solomon.
It was a secret because Paul Solomon was a married man, and he kept the affair quiet, obviously.
Paul doesn't know it yet, but there's no need for secrecy anymore. His marriage ended a half an hour before in a hail of bullets.
She's dangerous. If I was Paul Solomon, I'd be concerned.
Solomon's lover is a pretty girl from a privileged background and a woman consumed by a destructive desire.
Carolyn wanted to break up other marriages. She wanted to be the reason a man left his wife. It was the way to give meaning to her life if she could be the seductress who took the man away.
Carolyn's greatest desire remains unfulfilled. She's been dumped by a series of attached men, starting with the first man she ever loved.
Carolyn lost her father out of her daily life when she was a young girl. Her father left the family to go with another younger woman. And I think that set into motion some serious psychological problems for Carolyn because she felt abandoned by her father.
Every time a man leaves, she feels abandoned again. When Paul Solomon starts to pull away, she decides it's time to fight back.
When she found out that he wasn't going to divorce his wife, she felt that she had to take matters into her own hands, and she did.
It's a Sunday evening in 1989. Carolyn calls Paul Solomon and asks him to meet her at Treetops Lounge. His wife, Betty Jean, is home alone.
Meanwhile, Carolyn is sneaking over to the house. No one's sure how she got in.
Bombed a guerrilla base, killing at least 49 soldiers and 13 civilians. Damage to the base is said.
Betty Jean has met Carolyn before,
Doing in my home.
but this visit is a surprise,
Like I said, Poppy's my husband.
and so is the gun.
It's Carol.
Now here's my chance to do what I want to do. I want Paul Solomon, and I'll take Betty Jean Solomon out to get him.
No, sir. Oh.
She shot Betty 9 times.
She wanted total destruction. She was in competition with Betty Jean, and she wanted her destroyed.
10 minutes later, Carolyn Warmus meets her lover.
Good, how are you?
She's just fired 9 bullets into his wife.
It was unbelievable that she could kill another woman in cold blood, leave her bleeding on the floor, and just flit off to a romantic little restaurant, sit down and dine and laugh and have a wonderful time.
But Carolyn is not capable of feeling guilt.
She was calm because she's a sociopath. She had no guilt about what she did, and she wasn't particularly nervous at all about being caught.
At last, Carolyn has Paul to herself. She has fought for a married man and won. Now it's time to celebrate.
And they left together, and in the parking lot, they went to Carolyn Warmus's vehicle where they engaged in sex.
So it was a cold and horrible thing that she did. Take someone's life and then go have fun.
For Paul Solomon, the fun comes to a halt when he gets home. To Detective Constantino, Solomon is evasive.
Betty, come on.
But when he realizes he is a suspect in his wife's murder, he admits where he's been that night.
He admitted that he went to meet Carolyn Warmus at a place called Treetops Lounge in Yonkers.
Paul Solomon doesn't believe Carolyn killed his wife. Police are not so sure. After months of painstaking detective work, they connect her to the crime. She is convicted of second-degree murder.
At her sentencing, she stood up there and insisted she was innocent. She was going to jail for a horrible crime that she did not commit, and yet all the evidence made it clear.
By this time, her man has turned against her.
And she was very bitter because Paul was supposed to stick beside her and be there with her, and he just refused.
The worst fear of Carolyn Warmus is to be abandoned and alone. But that is just where she finds herself today, in prison for 25 years. At a resort in Maryland, a wife is poisoning her husband in the middle of a crowded room. This murder is just theater.
It was Valentine's weekend, and we had a special murder mystery party going on.
Enjoying the mystery dinner, Kim Rico and her husband, Steve. The play is called The Bride Who Cried. Guests are caught up in the tale of a new bride killing her groom.
What's happening?
But there is one other woman in the room with her mind set on murder.
Most people who want out of an unhappy marriage get a divorce. That wasn't good enough for Kim.
It's the last thing you expect to get a phone call in the middle of the night. When the phone rings in the middle of the night, you know it's not anything good.
My wife answered the phone, kind of roused me a little bit and said that there was an incident in Steve and Kim's room. Kim's requesting that you come down there as soon as possible.
It's disturbing news for Mike and Maureen Miller. They're close friends with Steve and Kim Rico. There's been a fire at the resort. Elaine Phillips had just finished work for the night.
A woman was coming into the door, going to the front desk.
Yeah, anyway, Sunday.
And she mentioned that her room was on fire.
My room is on fire.
The woman is Kim Rico.
She was very calm. She wasn't talking whatsoever. Wasn't like a shaking or a shock. It was just calm.
How did you
Staff leap into action.
Let's go.
Yeah, come on.
Nothing like this has ever happened before.
As soon as we got outside, there was a smell in the air. You could tell there was something was burning somewhere.
God.
I could see his face that he was burnt, that it was beyond anything, and I knew he was dead at that point.
The charred body belongs to Steve Rico, aged 35.
Steve was my best friend since 7th grade. Corny as it sounds, we're kind of each other's brother that we didn't have.
Distraught, the Millers rushed to check on Steve's wife, Kim.
I didn't expect her to be anything less than just an hysterical woman whose husband just passed away. She was the exact opposite, just exact opposite.
On the day he dies, Steve Rico is desperate to save his marriage.
Kim's just laid it on him that, I want a divorce.
A few months earlier, Mike took a troubling phone call from his good friend.
He was upset, crying. I could hear his voice quivering. He didn't want to lose her. That was his life.
The Millers had introduced Steve and Kim.
Kim was a very gregarious type personality. She was very outgoing, very friendly. Everybody liked her.
My wife set up a double date. He was kind of smitten by her. He thought she was attractive. Just basically hit it off, and from that point on, started dating.
Soon they marry and have a daughter. 9 years on, Steve is still in love.
Can you help me?
What are you, a baby?
But Kim is no longer the bright, outgoing woman he married. She is cold and distant. Kim's true Valentine is not Steve Rico. It's a 23-year-old Marine sergeant named Brad. She's having an affair.
Kim wrote Brad a letter the day that she left for her weekend with her husband about how much she loved him and couldn't wait to spend her future with him.
Steve has no idea about his wife's betrayal.
She was bound and determined that this murder was going to happen no matter what.
This suburban mother is a cold, calculating killer. At a golf resort in Maryland, fire tears through a guest room. Kim Rico's husband, Steve, is found inside, burnt to death. Prosecutor Robert Dean says it all looks like a terrible accident.
She claimed that he was sloppy drunk and that he wanted to have sex. So she said they got into an argument and she left for a few hours.
Stop it! No!
And she said she drove around and got lost. And that she then returned to the cottage and saw that it was full of smoke. And then she reported the room was on fire.
Steve Rico's best friend, Mike Miller, is called to the scene. His grief turns quickly to suspicion.
They're saying that the fire started because of him carelessly smoking. Steve doesn't smoke. All the years that I've known Steve, I've never seen him smoke a cigarette, a cigar, and he despised being around people that smoked.
Forensic pathologist Janis Amatuzio says the body of every fire victim tells a story.
Stephen's body was found in a fire. The major question for the forensic pathologist is, did he die as a result of the fire or not? When there was no soot in the airways, when there was no damage to the lungs, it suggested that Stephen was dead before the fire started.
Stephen was not drunk that night. The blood test at the autopsy shows that. He was not drunk.
He's such a party pooper. We're away.
The mask of Kim Rico is slipping. Behind it lies a killer.
Was she really capable of doing this? Everybody was saying it, but again, I ignored it and just pushed it back and said she wasn't capable of doing it. And man, was I wrong.
Police follow a lead to Kim's workplace.
Kimberly Rico was what they call a scrub tech. She worked in the emergency room of local hospitals in the Washington, D.C. area.
She has access to a very dangerous drug.
She did indicate that she knew how to end her husband's life and that she could actually get her hands on a substance that would kill him.
A deadly substance used by anesthesiologists in emergency and operating rooms. Succinylcholine.
This would be the only logical explanation as to what brought about Stephen Rico's death, because there was nothing else wrong with him. His body organs were in fine shape, there was no trauma. It had to have been this. She had to have carried through her plan. She snuck up and attacked him with a hypodermic syringe, knowing full well that the burning of the body would cover up any puncture wound.
Succinylcholine is a fast, lethal drug with a terrifying twist.
This agent just simply causes paralysis. It does not alter your level of consciousness.
It basically suffocates you as the paralyzing agent, so he would have maintained consciousness while he was suffocating.
I really wonder what Stephen must have felt when he realized he couldn't move. Panic, I imagine. There is no way that succinylcholine can paralyze terror.
Kim Rico thinks she has planned the perfect crime.
One of the things that I see in almost every case of premeditated spousal murder, where the killer is above average intelligence, is arrogance. And the arrogance they have makes them do stupid things.
It was clear that this was a staged killing. There were empty beer bottles in the room, and there was a pack of cigars.
The cigars are vital clues. Not only is Steve Rico a non-smoker, they can't start a fire.
There was an investigation as to how a fire like this could have started. And that fire could not have started by the ashes of a cigar.
Prosecutor Robert Dean takes a mass of evidence to trial. Kim Rico is found guilty of murder and jailed for life.
She injected him with succinylcholine and watched him suffocate and lit him on fire. How much colder could it get?
I think one of the saddest things about this story, it really touched me how much her husband truly loved her, didn't want to lose her, and was doing what he could to try to make things better. And she still killed him.
The murder of Steve Rico shatters many lives.
He was a big teddy bear. He just wanted everybody that he loved to be happy and for him to take care of him. And it's sad that he's the one not in the world anymore and she is.
My best friend, and the fact that he's not here anymore is pretty hard for me to take.
And there is another victim, Steve and Kim's young daughter.
Because of her mother's obsession with this younger man, because of her mother's desire to get herself out of this marriage, this little girl, lost her father and lost her mother too.
Her child is a victim of her crime and is forever going to wonder what side of the family is telling her the truth. Is it true that her mother was unjustly accused? Or is it true that she is a cold, manipulating, calculating murderer?
Kansas City, February 2000. Former homicide detective Jerry Cassidy prepares to die. Consumed by shame, he can't go on living with what he did in the name of forbidden love. His briefcase holds the key to a baffling death. The world's first internet murder.
This case had everything. It had murder, it had sex, it had the internet, intrigue, deception, lies, everything wrapped into one.
I've never seen anything quite like this, where somebody manipulated another person through the series of communications, and it resulted in such a heinous crime.
Reno, Nevada. A few months earlier, Jerry Cassidy is enjoying a wild weekend with a wild woman he met online.
Cherie Miller represented that she was a wealthy businesswoman from Flint and that she was in the auto parts business.
27-year-old Cherie Miller is gorgeous. The fact she's married only adds to the excitement.
Cherie told Jerry that her husband was involved in the mafia.
Whoa.
And she couldn't leave him because she knew too much, and he wouldn't let her leave.
To winning.
Lonely Jerry doesn't care. He's been down on his luck too long.
He lost his job in law enforcement, which he loved, and went through a divorce and never seemed right after that.
Cherie goes home to Michigan. But their forbidden love continues to flourish online.
Cherie and Jerry launched into a series of emails and internet discussions, probably thousands over the course of a few months.
Jerry and Cherie's online relationship developed as quickly as a relationship would have had they been sitting across from each other chatting.
They basically fell in love over the internet.
As Jerry Cassidy falls under Cherie Miller's power, she begins a campaign to control him.
He was manipulated. He had no idea that most of the content of these emails were lies.
Cherie pretends that she's pregnant with twins. And he is the father. Jerry falls into her trap.
He was ecstatic. He wanted nothing but to spend the rest of his life with Cherie.
It's all a lie. But the biggest lie is yet to come. One email designed to drive Jerry over the edge and make him a murderer. In the anonymous world of the internet, lies are easy to tell. Cherie Miller is carefully conning her online lover, Jerry Cassidy.
She was just somebody who was trying to be like a puppeteer and move the pieces along to her satisfaction.
Cherie was able to control Jerry because he wanted to be controlled. She found in him a dupe.
Cherie tells Jerry her husband Bruce is a violent gangster.
None of this was true. He was a nice guy, easy to do business with, and in no way would he do any of the things that Cherie Miller was suggesting that he would do.
But Jerry wants to believe. He already thinks Cherie is pregnant with twins. She hopes her next lie will turn him into a killer.
The turning point in all this was when she said that her husband had beaten her specifically so that the twin babies would be killed.
A faked photo is all the proof Jerry needs.
Cherie.
That's when he decided he was coming to Flint to take care of business.
I'm coming there, Cherie. I'm coming there, goddammit!
Chatting online, Cherie and Jerry plot every detail of her husband's murder.
She used sex and the internet to manipulate Jerry Cassidy in a way that infuriated him enough that he became from a good citizen, a former police officer, to he became a killer.
The plan was for Jerry to walk in, say, "Hi, I'm Jerry."
He did want to look in the eyes of the person that he believed harmed his own children and harmed the love of his life.
She told him where he carried his money and to take the money so it looks like a robbery.
That's exactly how it came down.
Whoa, 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 what's going on here?
You know who I am.
The police were baffled at first. They thought it was a robbery gone bad. And the case went unsolved for quite some time. Cherie was never really a suspect in the murder.
When it all dies down, Jerry thinks his new life is about to begin. But Cherie has already moved on.
He came back to Flint, Michigan, right to Cherie Miller's house, and at that point had found that Cherie Miller had already moved in her new boyfriend.
The terrible truth dawns on Jerry. He's been tricked into murdering an innocent man.
He actually had killed for what he thought was the love of his life. He was just used as a pawn in her game to kill Bruce and not have any ties back to her.
The former detective's final act is to take revenge on the woman that destroyed his life.
In the briefcase was a 8-page instant message printout that detailed how Jerry had driven to Flint and killed Bruce Miller.
Cherie's beloved computer lands her in a murder trial.
Her testimony was nothing but one lie after another, but she was caught in every single lie because we were able to produce for her all the emails, all the chat room conversations, all of the instant messaging that she had done.
Convicted of conspiracy to commit murder, Cherie Miller is sentenced to life.
Everyone that knew Cherie was not surprised that she was able to manipulate someone to do this for her.
There will always be a Jerry for every Cherie that's out there.